Blessed be the Lord my rock. Blessed be the Lord my rock. Blessed be the Lord my rock. Blessed be the yummy, yummy. Blessed be the yummy, 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 yummy. Blessed be the mashed potatoes.
Blessed be a morning walk with friends.
Be a morning walk with friends.
Blessed be a morning walk with friends.
Be a morning walk.
I said, blessed be a morning walk
I
with
said
friends.
what?
Be a morning walk with friends. Blessed be a warm winter day. Be a warm winter day. Be a light getting longer. Be a light getting longer. Be spring is coming soon. Blessed be spring is coming soon.
Like we get February 2nd, eh?
Blessed be the Lord my rock. Blessed be the Lord my rock. Blessed be the Lord my rock.
Be the Lord.
My rock.
This morning, I overheard William telling the story of the fox woman and smiled. I've been telling that story for about 25 years. It's an important story. It's a good story. It's our story. The more we see ourselves in it, the better. So tonight, another story, a different story, but one I think that is very, very relevant for what's happening today in the world. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd who was tending his sheep high up on a hillside next to a massive mountain, kind of rock wall. And there in the lush grass, the shepherd and the shepherd was knitting a scarf for the winter. And suddenly, down in the grass on the hillside, a hare popped up, a large creature, tall. And the two of them greeted each other, and the shepherd was fascinated. And the ball of thread on the shepherd's lap rolled off and down the hillside and disappeared into an opening in the rock wall. So the shepherd stood up, followed the thread down, saw the opening in the rock wall. He had never seen it before, but there it was, large enough for him to crawl through. So down on all fours the shepherd went, crawled through the opening in the rock wall, and much to his surprise, when he got inside, it was a huge grotto, a kind of hollowed out mountain, a hall, if you will. And there was enough light that went through the opening that he could see in the corner a large table and a bed. And on top of the large table there were two things. One, a sword, a magnificent sword, and next to the sword, a horn, a beautiful horn, a musical instrument. And next to the table was a bed, an old bed with an old king sound asleep. It was King Arthur. For in this Celtic story, King Arthur was sound asleep. So the shepherd, without thinking, went up to the table, picked up the sword and crashed it down on the oak table. At that, the old king awoke, sort of half awoke, and put his old head up on his hand and looked up at the shepherd, one eye open, and said, "Had you chosen the horn, I would have come back and restored the nobility of my people. But you did not choose the horn. You have chosen the sword. So I will return to my sleep, and I will sleep for thousands and thousands and thousands of years." With that, the king laid his old head back down on the pillow, went to sleep. The shepherd became afraid, backed out of the hall, the grotto, crawled through the opening, gathering up his thread, and clambered up the side of the hill, stopped halfway up, turned around and looked, and the end of the story says, never again was he able to find the opening in the rock wall. That's the story. It's been told, some believe, for thousands of years. The story is about us. It's about what's happening today. For today we're choosing the sword. I say we, I mean, it's easy to spot in this country how our regime is choosing the sword everywhere, it seems. The administration, after kidnapping the president of another country and his wife, now wants to take Greenland and Iceland. Oh, and by the way, Canada too. And Mexico, threatening the president of Mexico. And on and on and on and on it goes. It's the sword, it's the sword, it's the sword. So, I believe it's really important for us to hear this story and to understand why we choose the sword and how we can choose the horn. For the horn is a beautiful instrument. It's a deep, resonant instrument, unlike the sword, which slashes, cuts, wounds, and kills. The horn unites, gathers, and is a deep sound in the human soul. The rock wall in the story, I would say, represents our own minds, our own hearts. And it's so important, isn't it, that we find openings in that rock wall, openings in our mind and our hearts, rather than be closed. And even if we miss one opening, there's going to be another. But we do have to look, we do have to see. And that's why today, in today's walk, I asked you the question, what do you see? It's not meant to say, oh, I see a tree or I see a bird, but what do you see as you immerse yourself in the wonders of nature? What do you see deep within your soul? That's the question. So, that's the story. Your thoughts on the story?
And thought tonight of sometimes it is just a tiny thread that's pulling us to come into a new place, and we have to have the courage to just follow what might seem a very insubstantial or elusive thread and see where it takes us.
It's not always power that can bring you good things.
It's an interesting question, isn't it, Kevin? Question of power. What is power? The kind of power that's being expressed today has been described by various people in the language of gangsterism, kind of force, power, violence. It certainly is a kind of power when you can threaten people and make them do what you want them to do. But even the United States, I say even because we don't have a very good record of power in this country from the very beginning. But there have been moments when I think we have demonstrated to ourselves and to the world a different kind of power. The power of compassion in social programs that help the poor, that provide kids that don't have enough money and the families with lunch, in school. That's a power. It's a kind of soft power, isn't it? It's a kind of like Bruce Lee water power. It's not the punches and kicks, of a karate demonstration, but it's more of a, to use Anna's word, flow power. that, you know, over time, it's pretty powerful.
Hmm.
You know? We all know the power of water. So, yeah, it's something to ponder, you know, the meaning of power and what is being expressed today and how we might express a different kind of power. You know? Other thoughts?
I think the power that we are attracted to is someone who is humble, has gone through all the turmoils and trappings of life, and they have this inner open heart that is just exuding compassion and kindness, and it naturally attracts people and they want to work with them, and it's building upon a loving energy versus the power that a small, egotistical, fragile person codependent on other people's gifts and skills and siphoning off of them to make them look better and stepping on other people's backs, countries, to build this illusion or facade that they are powerful, but in the end, when all comes crashing down, it's just a fragile little child.
Yeah. And that's what Gandhi said, didn't he?
Exactly.
He said, you know, there will always be tyrants. There will always be dictators and these insecure individuals who fearfully, rigidly try to control as much and as many as possible. But in the end, they always fall. They always fall. They dissolve. It doesn't end well for them.
I'll jump in and say that there's always seems to be when one side of the pendulum gets too high or too low, as a whatever, it always balances out. There's a balance of power. And you just said one of the names, Gandhi. We have a lot of heroes in history. Martin Luther King, you know, I don't have to name them. One of them's right in front of us on the wall, who won by sacrificing himself for peace and for love. But yeah, it's at this point with our current situation, I guess, it'll be interesting to see how the other side responds. But here's the thing, we are the other side, those of us sitting in this room. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and how each of us can play a part in balancing out the zeitgeist of our time, you know.
That's an interesting word that you use, zeitgeist. What do you understand it to mean, and what is the zeitgeist of this time? How would you sum it up?
Basically, it's like the spirit of movement that passes through an era, like the zeitgeist of World War II era was just defined by the whole episode, the whole thing. But zeitgeist is just the spirit blowing through. I know it's a German word. I forget what it exactly means.
Well, you're saying it, but
Yeah,
it's the
spirit.
spirit of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, for us currently, it's nothing new. It's just a new player
Mm.
in the game with a new toolbox and a new arsenal with more advanced technology. Whoop-de-doo. It's the same tactics, it's the same mentality. It's a child in a grown man's body with a purse and a suitcase full of red buttons that he can push and blow whatever up, you know. But it's all the same thing. Hitler had more control than this guy does. But in just saying that too, there's like part of me that wants to understand what type of compassion is lacking in his life, because I have a family member who is a supporter of the person we're talking about. But I think that if you can and like Anna said, the people we can relate to or want to grow towards says something that's the zeitgeist operating within each of us. And I think there's always a fork in the road, just like the shepherd. I like that he got only halfway up the mountain or the slope, and then he turned around, because there weren't two people in the story to play white and black. It was just one, and I think maybe the slope had a character in the story too. But either way, he comes halfway up, and it would appear that he had had a change of heart. But I think each of us alive and not alive, I think, you know, at least for me, it's like struggling to be an identity. Who am I? That's one of those existential questions. And I think if you're willing to search that out, and like Anna said again, be humble and know that I don't know and admit that, versus someone in the Oval Office who thinks he knows who he is because other people tell him so. I don't know. It's the human experience is the craziest one I know. So.
Here's a question. Why did the sleeping king go back to bed? Go back to sleep? I mean, he's a king, right? I mean, so he meets a shepherd. So the shepherd didn't choose too well. You know, king could still get up, do the thing, you know, restore the nobility of the people, right? That's what the king was going to do, because kingship is about nobility. Why did the king go back to sleep? Did you have an idea, Denzel?
Because the way that the shepherd woke him up wasn't really nice of
Mm.
him, and
Yeah.
so I was like, nah, I'm fine. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah, these people aren't ready for nobility yet. Crashing swords down on tables, my goodness. Yeah. It's a question. Because in the broader sense, the question becomes, how can we restore nobility in our lives? How can we be open to becoming a more noble people? What does that mean? You know, I mean, it's not a word that you hear very often on Fox News or CNN or any major network. You know, let's talk about nobility. I can hear the broadcasters now. You know, it doesn't happen. Like it doesn't exist. Isn't that interesting? Some certain words, you know, like justice. You don't hear people talking about justice anymore. Nobility, these things are gone in terms of the public discourse. So I think it's a good question.
It's easier to be ignorant and fall asleep and close your eyes and pretend you don't see all of the mess that you, your family, your
Mhm.
lineage had made.
Right?
And to restore justice is to restore justice is beauty
Mm.
and what blossoms from the heart. But with ignorance in the way, there's no way to see justice.
So is the king ignorant?
He could be,
Yeah.
in one perspective.
Ignorant of what?
Well, you chose violence, okay, I'm going back to sleep. It is gonna continue how it should be, kinda like a pattern.
I think maybe the king was discouraged,
Disappointed?
disappointed.
That too.
Yeah.
That
I
could
mean,
be
it takes a lot of energy, doesn't it, to
It sure
engage?
does. Mhm.
And it's exhausting. Maybe the king was just plain tired
Yeah.
of it all.
Right there goes another one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, another little slant on that is, peace you have to choose. Violence you can impose, but you can't make somebody be peaceful or make peace for them. And kind of coupled with that exhaustion, why aren't they choosing peace?
It's a
Mhm.
You
broken
know,
record.
I don't wanna go fight another war to make peace, you know. And
Mhm.
One of the, I think, beautiful and difficult things to come to terms with, in order to be a peacemaker, I believe, we need to be aware of the violence within us,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
the potential to act like a jerk, to do the Trump thing, to take, and to be violent about it. That's in us. And to be a peacemaker, to be gentle, I think we have to be not only aware of it, but feel it, hold it, as we become more and more and exercise more and more gentleness and compassion. But that's strength. And I think the people I've met that are peacemakers in a real sense, they're powerful people. And they know their own potential for violence. It's not like, oh, it's all them. No, it's me. But I'm choosing, as Tim said, to walk this path.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean I don't want to throw you in the pond. It means I'm not going to throw you in the pond. I choose not to. And I choose rather to ask you, what do you think about this? How do you feel? You care for a cup of tea? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath it, there's a volcano, make no doubt. And it's really important to be aware of that kind of power underneath. Any other thoughts?
Well, since you asked, yes. It just would seem you said a few times in your last statement the word choose, and I think that defines the fork in the road, because each decision builds into the next, and that might be the zeitgeist defined. It's just, what do I choose to do in this, like right here, right now, just like the shepherd. And then, but he also had that moment where he turned, and if had the chance, he might have chosen the next thing. So yeah, choice. That might be one of the only true things that each of us own, is our choice.
What we do here, I hope, is to provide a space where good choices can be made, where good choices and the capacity to choose well can be nourished. A beautiful place, beautiful melodies, singing, chanting, silence, delicious, nourishing food, good conversation, quiet, silence, reflection. All these things, I believe, help human beings to make good choices
Mm-hmm.
and to move forward, whatever direction they choose. But it nourishes the capacity to choose,
Mm-hmm.
to choose well. We'll close with a song. song that you don't need to turn to in your book. It's a call and response. But it has to do with what we're talking about, so I'll tell you the little story behind it. Many years ago, I was in a meeting, and I was in charge of the meeting. Dreadful thing to be. And the agenda in front of me was going well. I was checking out the things that we were going through, and then this old man began to talk, and he began to talk a lot, long time. And finally, he stopped, and he said, "Am I talking too much?" And inside, I was ready with the sword. Just a, yeah, buddy. But a more compassionate person chose to respond differently. And she said, "Oh no, we really want to hear what you have to say." And I thought to myself, great. Now we'll be here till Christmas. Most unchristlike. And he began to talk again. And more words flowed. This time the difference was he began to cry. And this was an old guy. He was probably about my age back then. And he began to cry and tell why he was talking so much. It was because someone that was very close to him had just died. And he needed to talk. It's that simple. So he talked and talked some more. And he finished. The meeting ended. And life was good. The next morning I went to the keyboard. That was my habit back then. To try and write a song. And this is what came out. When I listen to you, when I hear your voice, I hear the voice of God. When I look in your eyes, when I see your face, I see the face of God. When I open to you, when I touch your heart, we touch the heart of God. We see the face of God. And we hear the voice of God. At the close of this day, we give you thanks for your great love that changes us, that holds us, that leads us and guides us. May we learn more and more to choose the horn, to gather together, and not to divide, not to do violence, but to do kindness in this world. May it be so.